So we're gonna try this again. So I've been guided to share a little bit about me, but also it's gonna probably resonate, if you're watching this, it's gonna resonate with you in a way because you've either been looking for answers and they're asking me to share secrets that I've learned with my gift and along my journey over the last 2 years, well, really my whole life, but secrets of the universe, I guess, that I have learned over the last 2 years. Because you're probably a star seed, a light worker, a chosen one, a healer, intuitive, all those things, empath. And I've tried to do this video like 3 times now. My daughter came home and then she started blow drying her hair and all things. So now we're up in my bedroom and getting comfy. So we're gonna start with my brain does not work normal. It never has. And I used to almost take it as like a I'm too much, but I realize now it's not that I'm too much. It's I'm literally meant to know too much, be able to do too much, all of those things to be an example for other people. But growing up with that, and even in dating, married, any of that work, it was a difficult thing that I've had to learn to heal from, because I realize now I'm a mirror. So being a mirror, I amplify everybody's insecurities tenfold. So I have stood up for women my entire life. Women probably hate me the most because I am their amplifier. I've always been one of the guys because the guys, if they're trying to date me, I amplify their insecurities. If I'm their bestie, which I call gusbands, they might as well be gay husbands, then they're golden. I help them heal, grow, be their best person, be their best selves, and they can do the same for me. But as a kid, to give you an example of my brain not being normal, I mean, not normal at all. My dad brings home an Apple computer. I was probably like 6, 7. And he brought home an Apple computer, was setting it up to try and show me how to use it. And I told him to back away, and I showed him how to use it. I've never understood why I know how to do things, even though I've never done it before. Why I can learn things so fast. Why I can see ideas and solutions on massive, I mean like worldwide massive scales, and nobody can understand. Like for an example, when COVID hit and they started sending out stimulus checks, I'm like, okay, so put us billions more in debt, or government, why don't you go to car loan place, like all banks, mortgages and car loans, the 2 biggest payments that most people have, and push them all back a year on the end of their loan. Now everybody doesn't have a mortgage or all year long. Now landlords have the ability to gift a free month to renters knowing that they don't have any, and everybody has the most amount of money because they're not paying their biggest bills to be able to survive and help everybody else. And $0 done to the government. Because the government doesn't have awakened people in the government. The government, so let me back up. So if I could explain that life is a game. Life is a game. And the government was set up to keep everybody on level 1. And I'll go more in depth into that. But if the government was set up to keep everybody on level 1, and then the 1% that makes all the money and runs the governments and owns the big businesses, they're able to get to the top levels of the game. Then all of the level 1s are working for the 1% to make them money. They took out the pieces of the puzzle to let you know how to win the game and to get out of what they call the matrix. So what I've learned with my gift, because my gift, it taps in to what is called the Akashic Records. or the God frequency. That's where my knowledge, ideas, it's also Atlantis. The Atlantis tapped into the God frequency. That's why all that technology, and they think that civilization just disappeared. It didn't disappear. The difference was when they died, and the knowledge died with them because those people had ascended to win the game. But when you reincarnate and come back, because we have multiple lives, people, the world had changed and the devil energy came in and then was holding back, because when we come back with karmic lessons that we need to learn and heal from and blah, blah, blah. So the knowledge that we did have, we lose. And if those generations create systems, structures, governments that hold you back and taking that knowledge away, when you come back, the world is now changed and they don't celebrate you winning the game, because the power hungry now changed our history. They now changed the process, the rules to the game, because they took away the answers. They took away the history. So if there's a God frequency, I see it as like a tube, but I also understand it to be Metatron, the flower of life, all of those things. I see it as like a white energy frequency that you can tap into, where all creation comes from. So if you think about that, that means every invention, every movie, every book, everything comes from the collective consciousness, which means it all is coming from, how do I explain that? So if you figure in a year, that energy from every year, thousands years back, all of it, future, backwards, it's always circulating in that timeline. So say in January, that's why we can learn the same lessons over and over and over again. If you're on level 1 or any of the levels, it's circulating. So say there was war or whatever thousands of years ago, those same people, those same examples, those same lessons will come to the forefront. That energy comes to the forefront. And those same people get to either make same choices or different choices each lifetime. And that's why if you look back, there's certain patterns in our history of it happening the same ways over and over again. It's the same people hitting the same frequencies, doing the same shady shit and stuff like that, or other people tapping into that to do that. So the only way you're able to clear generational curses is you level up from level 1 to win the game and get out of the matrix, knowing at that point, because when you're going through those levels, you learn your past lives, you learn your past lessons, you learn how you fucked up history. That's part of your karma and dharma. Dharma is your purpose. Your karma is what, the good or bad, of if you follow your dharma, to be able to fix and heal that wound within the energy of the God frequency and learn from it. So when we're in level 1, it's each level. Sorry, my daughter is totally distracting me by arguing with somebody on the phone. So we're in a video game. You're in those levels. You get to choose your avatar. You get to choose how it looks. You get to choose all of those things, how it acts, what weapons you collect and learn, because we get to choose where we spend our time and energy. We get to choose, are we working out and treating ourselves good, or are we not? So level 1, usually we are in that hamster wheel. We are working for the man. We are in that. We don't see a way out. We live in fear of not getting that next paycheck, all of the things. We have the fear of getting judged, all that. So if you think of karma, how I see it, if you've ever seen that snake that eats its own tail, you've got to realize that if we've done these lessons over and over in history, that means you attract the same people into your life every lifetime to try and learn these lessons. So it's like you have your own tribe. So if you imagine the different tribes being the different zodiac signs. So now there's 13 because Ophiuchus got added in. So if you imagine those tribes, they all have certain gifts and abilities that go to those zodiac signs. Those people in your tribe, if they have screwed you over in this lifetime, they've screwed you over in every other lifetime before that. This lifetime is the like coming to Jesus moments. They didn't learn the lesson and they now have to start over and stay in literally their own hell, because if everything's a frequency, that means hell is a frequency being in the lower levels and heaven is in the higher frequencies. It's not a place you go to, it's a place you stay at because you decide to not grow and you keep yourself in hell. So I see it more as like devil energy. People have devil energy in them, lower frequency hell energy, where they're victims, where they stay stuck, where they are stuck in the wheel, where they have the addictions, where they have the negative thinking, the patterns, all of that shit. And they will project it out on you. But if you think about our movies, we have the like vampire and we have the werewolf, right? So what I have learned is the vampire, that's your energy vampire. That is your narcissist. That is the devil energy. That is what our government system is set up on, is pretty much a daddy narcissist who always holds your goals, your dreams, your wants, your needs, everything this far away from you, and you can get it if you work hard enough. But how we were taught on level 1 to work hard enough, we have an hourly wage attached to that in our head. So our goal, say our goal is $1 million, we're thinking how many hours do we have to work to get there? That's not how it is. The 1%, you want to know what they teach their kids? It's what idea, what system, what creative, whatever can you come up with that'll make you that $1 million. Not you working your ass off. It's about knowledge, healing, and being able to create that and send it out into the world. Just like every Disney movie and every movie, it's got that hero's journey in it. The hero's journey is literally where the damsel in distress in the building, blah, 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 and Sleeping Beauty, all those things. Because when you're healing and going through the levels, you have to isolate yourself and start clearing people and places out of your life. Because these are the people and places that have held you back for lifetimes. So as you're leveling up, you start noticing who is the devil energy around you that keeps holding you down. So the karma snake circle. I see and have learned this to be, for example, I got put in a situation where a man was married and he did not tell me. To then have to learn that, stand up for myself, because werewolf, just like in all the movies, the werewolf bite is the only thing that can kill a narcissist. The vampire, the werewolf is you finding your power, and I'll explain how that works. And the bite is actually your truth. So you standing up for yourself, claiming your boundaries, and seeing through the gaslighting or whatever they are causing, where you take your power back, the narcissist doesn't get to keep it as an energy source. You take your power back and now they have to show up correct or not at all. That's a werewolf bite to the vampire, and you level up. So it's eating your own tail. Because I had to see, I put myself in that situation to then have that situation come back again and again for me to learn to ask different questions, stand my ground, all of those things to then actually have it be a reason why I had to go into my own company that I loved, because it was a bunch of people having affairs that were affecting everyone else, and they were all and hurting women. So it was the same lesson over and over and over again for me to see where my fingerprints were, to eat my own tail. But as I did that, I healed, I forgave, but I claimed my boundaries, which means I take the keys to the narcissist and their abundance that was meant for this lifetime, their freedom, because now they're locked in a prison of their own hell because of what happened, because words that I spoke, truth, has now left them in their own hell until they decide to level up. But the only way they're able to do this is because you have the keys. They have to find you to ever get freedom from that hell. They have to make things right and speak their truth and all of those things to ever get out of that hell. So the ones who sit and assume that that pain and that hell and that cycle that's running in your brain is going to go away, it doesn't go away because someone else has the keys to access that. And the only way to receive those keys back, you have to go and make things right and reclaim your keys. So it's like I am going through life in this game, collecting keys of people that I gave passes to in past lives that have hurt me in past lives, to give them chances of unconditional love and forgiveness, knowing that we all have to learn this. So there's no blame. But I can't save them. They have to save themselves by having big enough balls to come find me, to speak their own truth, apologize, make things right, or whatever needs to be done. Otherwise, I keep those keys. I keep that energy. I keep all of that, and I keep leveling up with it. Because in theory, if you think back to kings and queens, every tribe has kings and queens. We just didn't know we were royalty. In those tribes, as you're leveling up, eventually you make it to the end of that tribe, that you have collected your keys and you've won the game, because then after that, you are released from the matrix of it, because it's all the karma and everything you have to fix and heal from to release yourself from that matrix. Once you're released from the matrix, you're able to meet your new tribe, your new people, and new relationships, new everything that don't come with a past burden attached to it. It's all new. And so when you're able to do that, every level, you're able to look down and see a different perspective. I'm able to have, that's where you get those aha moments and those radical shifts of different perspectives, is because each time you level up, you're able to look back and I can see, where I messed up, where I claimed my power, where I did better, where I learned that lesson, and I can see it all differently. And there is no blame. There is no blame for the person that hurt me, because each thing is happening to you so that you can learn that lesson finally, if you choose. So if we start looking at every single thing in our life actually happened to us and for us, instead of to hurt us and cause us pain and keep us down and all the things, that's us staying in level 1 energy and not wanting to take responsibility for our own life and learn how to change it, because we weren't taught that. So we talked about the God frequency, where all ideas and everything come from. Now let's talk about the shitty people that took it away and where it comes from and why they did it. So if they took away all of the pieces in our history and the puzzle pieces for us to know how to heal ourselves, to win the game, and to get out of the matrix, they took it all away. This is going to trigger some people, just saying. if we look back in time in our history, there were these things of churches that got created. It created a man God to go along with the man government instead of the frequency. They put in place that we have to pretty much try and be perfect, and we were never good enough, and all of those things, which is not true. They taught us, to love everybody and everything and just give unconditional, but never taught us to love ourselves, never taught us to heal ourselves. And anything witchy or whatever, which is, part of the magic and learning how to do the game, is seeing that everything comes from the God frequency. So my day, every show I watch, every music song that comes on, everything is always a piece to a puzzle and a sign directing me where to go. But until you're conscious enough to see that, which is consciousness and awakened, you can't see that. You don't connect the dots, you don't see it. And as you slowly start connecting the dots, you know you're on the right path. But they take those pieces away, because if you think about it, if you were able to heal your karma at home with your parents in the safety when you're a child, because you don't have all of this broken shit from this lifetime that holds you back, first of all, so that by the time you're 18, you're connected to your divine counterpart, because that's when your frequency is doing that. You have a divine counterpart out there that was created especially for you. But if you've heard of the 3 loves of your life kind of thing, you have a first one that is mind, second body, and soul is how I see that. It's the triangle. The mind, it's the narcissist. It's the one that fucks with your mind. It leaves you in a labyrinth of your own head where you're not good enough. Did he mean what he said? And all these things. Am I the one that's crazy? All the shit. So your second one, it's a great love, but it's that one that in areas breaks rules of systems, and maybe you're from 2 different cultures or whatever. Usually there's body shame attached. Usually it's attached somehow to like what you were taught in churches or systems of some kind that you have to break, because it's going to trigger all of that healing. Each one triggers healing from past lives. So, and then the third one, it connects you to your soul purpose. It connects you to your soul and where you really came from and how you're not crazy, and your gifts come in and your healing and all of it. And it kind of puts all the pieces together. And so as you're doing that, that third one is the one that we most likely have never achieved in past lives, because you have to win the game to be able to get it. It's the one that like helps you get out of the matrix and pay it forward and come back and share your story to help heal others and pass it on, pass the knowledge on, all of it, which then also cleans your karmic slate so that any children you have, they are born without the generational curses attached to them. Because the curses and stuff that I'm breaking, I can look through hundreds of years in my family line to see the same thing happen over and over and over with the men, the same thing happen over and over and over with the women, and it's the pattern. And I'm breaking that generational curse so that any children in my line going forward do not have to deal with that. It's also why I see grandmas everywhere. I never understood why grandmas would come to me. Even a massage, I will feel grandmas like wanting me to help their children, because the grandmas are the ones who have taken this burden on to help heal the generational curses, because they are the ones who nurtured and whatever and taught the children the wrong way, and they weren't brave enough to break it. So it's like the burden is on the grandmas. So I get the burden feelings from all the grandmas, especially if they want me to date their grandson or something. Oh my gosh, I have had grandmas come in crazy pressure crazy pressure when it comes to grandmas, I will say. So anyways, we're children. we're learning our karmic lessons, living at home. If you think of the church and how it is set up, they take out all of those pieces so the parents don't know how to teach it, which means then the parents are teaching you wrong. So then the first thing we do when we get out of our parents' house is run to the first person on that list, which is the narcissistic, the bad boy, the one that mind fucks us and hurts us and breaks us. And one of the reasons why we usually never make it to 3. So if we were healed and all of that, and the churches didn't take all of that knowledge away, we would be coming out of our parents' home and connecting to our divine counterpart and our life purpose without having to go spend thousands of dollars on colleges that we didn't need, get lost in jobs that don't do anything other than help the man and the 1%, all the things, which means literally the churches set it up for us to be feeding virgins to the devil. So, for everyone who is still in love with churches, be fully aware churches were set up to separate, segregate, hide knowledge. That's why the Vatican has thousands of years of knowledge that they have hidden from us. All of this knowledge that they keep so that we don't learn it and stop serving them. It's why they went on rampage to kill all witches, people that can heal themselves and heal others, because they wanted the power. They wanted the power. They wanted you to go talk to a priest and ask for forgiveness, versus knowing that to win that level, you have to do the snake and to claim it back, speak your truth, learn the lesson, heal, forgive, take the keys, all that. They wanted you to give your power to a priest, which then keeps you on level 1. Same reason why they created God to be a man, where we are speaking to a daddy in the sky, hoping and praying, instead of knowing that we are connected to that God frequency. We are powerful people, all with gifts to be able to heal ourselves and know exactly what is right and wrong. When you tap into the Akashic records, the God frequency, nobody can tell me something in our history that is right or wrong. My intuition will tell me. I can look through the Bible and I can see the pieces that are right and the pieces that are wrong and were changed by man. Because the people who wrote the Bible came from a God frequency. All creation comes from it. It's all the same storyline. So they added and took out pieces to make it benefit them. And when I started seeing those pieces in the puzzle and why things happen the way that they have and why they do, it's not blame that I have now, because of course it was ancestors thousands of years ago that did this, and the people that are continuing the problem, most of them don't know what they are continuing. They are just doing what they're told. They're on level 1. They don't have their own tuning system to know what's right and wrong. All of that. They follow the rules. See, for me, and once you learn the secrets are right and wrong is your own internal guidance system, which you learn and heal, that is attached to the collective consciousness. I only make decisions based on the highest good of all. And the ones that get called out by me and I get to take their keys, were making decisions that were selfish and would hurt others. If we're always tuned and tapped in to that God consciousness, you don't ever make selfish decisions that hurt people. So if you're wondering who in your life has the devil energy, start looking at their decision-making process. Are they choosing things for the highest good of all, or are all the decisions they make selfish entitlements that they choose that hurt other people. That is where, as we heal, and if we were healing our children at home and learning all these lessons, they would go into the world knowing their ethics and values that are aligned with the consciousness, the collective consciousness, highest good of all. Highest good of all. They would be proud of their voice and speak up against anyone not going for the highest good of all and part of the collective consciousness, because they know when they do that, they're learning a lesson, they're leveling up on a level, and they're taking those keys if they call it out. We were taught not to rock the boat, not to speak up, to want to be approved by everybody else and worry what other people think. They have programmed that into our world to keep us on level one. Keep us on level one. Because if each person was independently going for their purpose, because the God frequency created so every person has a gift and a puzzle piece that helps grow and change this world the way it is supposed to be. That is why people go into college. You know, your parents want you to be a doctor. If you want to be an artist, your puzzle piece was to create inspiring art in this world. But we care what other people think. We care what our parents think. All of that. Those are the first few levels that you're breaking, is caring what other people think, finding your own power, your own voice, healing your heart, starting to see who is good for you and who is not, and growing and changing out of those cycles. So, churches feeding, virgins to the devil. My mom loved me explaining that to her. Even if we look back to like Jesus and Mary, Jesus went and saved her because he was hanging out with prostitutes and all that stuff, saved her from the 7 demons that were trying to get her, the 7 deadly sins. It was her ascension, her going through her process of winning the game. The difference was we love so hard as women that we still were supporting the man and not calling him out if he was doing things that weren't right. Jesus not standing up and making sure that he was sharing where a lot of his teachings were coming from was from Mary. That's why Mary Magdalene was shamed out of the Bible. That's why Mary Magdalene was hidden. That is why their child was hidden, and all of that had to be hidden and hid away because they wanted the man to have the power. Jesus learned from Mary a lot of the things that he knew, because how divine counterparts are set up which they were divine counterparts. The woman, as she's winning the game, because when you're hitting a certain level and growth, it's the universe pretty much has you meet almost. Even if you don't meet in 3D, like in real life, you meet in your dreams because, let me back up and explain this. So if you've ever heard of as above, so below. As above, so below means here on earth, above, you're already with your counterpart. You're already with your tribe. And above, you might be royalty, but you could be homeless on the street because you're so detached from your higher self and knowing who you truly are and how powerful you are that you don't know where to even start, and you were taught that you were shit here. So actually connecting who you are above to who you are below is when you are winning the game and you're leveling up. Your divine counterpart is already with you up there. So when you are starting to grow, the women are starting to grow, you're connecting to that divine counterpart and it starts waking him up down here. So you might not know him in the 3D yet. Even if you have met him, there's probably a lot of separation because he doesn't understand the intensity that's happening. Eventually, those line up. That was what was always meant to happen, because then you have literally your angelic self and all of your knowledge from past lives connected to who you are in this lifetime. When you're connected to your higher self and all of your knowledge from past lifetimes, for me, I'll explain my shit show so that it makes you feel a little bit better. I had to see where me wanting to be loved, hold on,